Pat, where are you? Because you've been quite vocal over the last few weeks about your concern over Spurs tactically naive from situations. Anything changing, Pat, for you on the basis of that again today?
First and foremost, I want to say hello to everyone. It's bank holiday weekend. I know obviously the result didn't go our way, but I hope you can, apart from football, enjoy the time with your family and friends. And you know that life is bigger than football, and football is the most important and the least important thing. So I want to put that into context, because don't get me wrong, like Jason, after the Arsenal game, I essentially checked out as well. I do see Chelsea as a big rival, so I wanted us to win that game, but I knew that the stakes were really high, and against us, our record here is even worse. So I didn't expect to see anything other than I wanted to see fight, desire, commitment. Going back to your most important question, Vicky, about where I sit and how I feel, I do feel, in my opinion, that I don't feel Ange is good enough to manage Spurs and get us to where we want to go to. I said this in the summer. It was my concerns when he was appointed. The four managers I thought were better and more achievable and we could have got and would have probably been a better fit for us was Pochettino. Regardless of what you think, he's tactically better than Ange Postecoglou, and he's shown that in the 2 games that he's played us and beat us convincingly in both games. Albeit in the first game there was a really strange, 2 men sent off in injuries, but he easily got the better of us on Thursday with a very weakened squad. If you look at the bench that they had and the fact that they still beat us 2-0, Pochettino, in my opinion, is still the better manager. Nagelsmann, obviously, you know why I wanted him. Marcelo Gallardo and Arne Slot, who it looks like Liverpool are going to give a shot to. Ange is now here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not screaming Ange out. I'm going to back him. I'm going to give him the time. At the end of the day, I don't feel, like Jason is saying, I do agree with Jason on most of his points. I don't see the point of us keep chopping and changing. At some point, we do have to stick with what we've got, and we have to see what we can do and make it work. But to make it work, that means he has to be backed. Jason, you were asking about what do we do or what's the point? Unless Levy actually backs Ange Postecoglou, I mean, he's got him in now. We have to go big. Whatever Ange needs and whatever Ange says, this is what I need to really compete, he has to be backed. If he's not backed properly, then we're just going to go on this merry-go-round. Couple of good games, we feel good. We'll have a rocky patch, we feel bad. Couple of good games, we feel good. And it's just going to go round in circles. At the moment, 4 losses on the spin is really hard to take. They are saying on the TV, and I was speaking to Ricky early in the week, that this is the first time in 20 years this has happened. So obviously that is hard to stomach, but I do understand that this is part of the rebuild. If we want a rebuild, we will have to go through these stages. It's hard, it's tough, but if we don't do it, we'll never get to the other side. And if you look at Arsenal, I hate to do it, but it's a perfect example. The first 2 seasons under Arteta, they were awful. There was a patch and there was a period, you've probably seen it on Twitter, where they lost so many games in a row.
TJ, they were the hand signal.
Yeah, right. That's it. And then I think they beat Man United 1-0, and then they lost loads more. But they stuck with him, and they gave him what he wanted and what he needed, and he had to get players away, and it was hard and tough. And now look where they are. They're a legitimately brilliant team. And, we've got to just, footballing aside, we can talk about the rivalries, but if you look at them from a footballing standpoint, they are a very, very good team. And if we want to get there, we've got to go through that, unfortunately. And Ange is talking a good talk, and I do like him, don't get me wrong. And like I said, he's here now. I'm going to get behind him. At the end of the day, even though I didn't feel he was better than those 4 managers in the summer, if he continues to adapt and improve and grow just like players can, then of course he can get better. But if he doesn't and he sticks to what he's doing right now, I do fear that he's not going to last as long as I want him to. I want him to be here for 4, 5, 6 years. Like the solid teams, Arsenal, Manchester City, and obviously Liverpool now, Klopp's going. Their managers have been there 5, 6 years. I want the same thing at Tottenham with Ange, but I do need to see some sort of growth and some sort of tactical improvement, some sort of tactical intelligence. Because I'm not going to lie, Vicky, right now I'm not really seeing it. Every time we play a good team and a top manager, he gets the better of us. So I do need to see change, but I'm not going to be here saying Ange out, this and that. It's crazy to do that. To what I'm saying, we can't keep chopping and changing. At some point, you've got to stick. Every manager has their inefficiencies. Every manager has their problems, and every manager has their strong points. He's definitely got strong points. He's definitely got areas of weakness. But it's the same way Harry Kane first came on the scene, and some fans didn't think he was good enough until he got that defective goal versus Aston Villa, free kick, and went on. Sonny in his first season, he was absolutely awful. He wanted to go back to Germany, and a lot of fans didn't get behind him, but we stuck with him, and obviously the rest is history. Carl Walker, Danny Rose, Gareth Bale. He was actually, when he was first announced, every time he was on the team sheet, fans booed him because he was considered a hoodoo and a bad jinx and all of that. So at some point we have to stick with him and see what he does. I believe if he's backed properly, he probably will succeed, but it's whether Daniel Levy will be brave enough to back him. But yeah, I'm not going to be sitting here and saying Ange out. There's problems, of course, but we have to give him the time. And
can I be honest with you, bringing TJ in here? Look, people aren't going to think I'm crazy saying this, and they might be well within their rights think I'm crazy. Villa in the Premier League have not been, in my opinion, any better than we have been. I think you look at their results, Villa, in terms of what they've done. They've had a couple of decent wins away at Arsenal, of course. I think they beat, I believe, obviously Arsenal at home as well. But honestly, they've not been anywhere better than us. Look at the amount of goals. I think they've conceded 14 goals from set pieces. And a lot of people obviously rant and rave about Ange's set pieces record, and I have done in previous shows. But can I be honest with you? You might, boys, think I'm crazy. I know, Jason, you will think I'm crazy. If someone offered me right now a top 4 place, I wouldn't want it. I really wouldn't want it. People might think I'm crazy saying that. And I want to bring TJ into this point because I look at Tottenham and what I think we need next season. People are going to go absolutely mental by this. Look, everyone knows I'm a cup man. I love my cups. That's all I care about is the cups. Jason's sick of hearing it for the last 7 years. But that's why he's rubbing his head. But honestly, do you know what? I think Tottenham, in my opinion, have got a genuine better chance next season of using it as a building season in terms of a development season. There's my cup, as Jason was up in the background there for the viewers and the listeners watching this, that honestly, I'm telling you right now, I think the best thing for Tottenham will be being in the Europa League next season. The level of teams, I think, will suit Spurs a lot better. I think playing those kind of teams will, I think, give Spurs a decent chance to not only blood in some new players, some young players as well, but also allow that growth that the manager is talking about. And that's whatever they do at the end of the season, whether it's this man or somebody else. But I can tell you right now that, in my opinion, I don't want Spurs anywhere near the Champions League from what I'm seeing this season. Honestly, when you look at the level of not all of those teams, but some of those teams, I'm telling you, Spurs should not be anywhere near it. And again, people might think I'm absolutely crazy for saying that. And you're well in your right to think it's crazy. It's the genuine elite competition. I know it's where Jason wants to end up playing. I know it's where a lot of people love seeing Spurs on away days. But honestly, I want to go into every competition feeling we've got a genuine chance to compete. I look at Tottenham as a club right now. I look at our squad right now. And even with 4 or 5 new players coming in, I don't think we'll be at the level. So a closing question to you, Jace. You've seen it all under this ball for the last 20 years. What would you like to happen, and what do you think will happen, Jace?
Well, I'd like to see. I'd like to see him in charge next season. Because, as I say, I haven't got the stomach to keep ripping it up after 1 year. My fear is, I think he will go into next season. I do fear that he won't get past Christmas. That's my honesty. I'd let him have the whole of next season unless we was in relegation zone or something daft like that. But I fear that he won't get past. I fear he might not get past October, let alone Christmas. But I do think he'll still be there on day 1 of next season.
Jace,
we know we have to improve.
Is that with a rebuild still? Is that with the churning over of 6-7 players coming in, those going out, that you still believe, in your opinion, you think the board would still not give him the time? You think if things aren't improving by October, they would get rid of him, yeah?
Yeah, I do, because I think the board wants top 4, and as soon as top 4 looks like it's not coming, they'll go into their normal thing. They're desperate for top 4 football or for Champions League football. I think fifth was okay this season when they thought that 5th would get them Champions League football, but it's not going to, is it? So I think that's how they'll always evaluate it. When they can't get Champions League football, they'll go into their panic syndrome again. But I'd like him to get to a chance to play the football that he wants to, and then we'll judge him on it. But I fear, like I say, long term, whether I like him or not, whoever likes him, I fear he'll struggle to get past. You can't constantly lose games by 4s. That's for sure, because the alarm bells ring and players will lose confidence and they will lose belief in a manager if you constantly lose 4. So I can see it from both points of view for sure.